May 27th, 1940. A small village in France called L'Épinette. The German army is advancing. French and British forces are retreating toward Dunkirk. The war is going badly. Very badly. A British army patrol is pinned down by German machine gun fire. They're trapped in a farmhouse. Can't advance. Can't retreat. The Germans are 100 yards away in a tree line. Standard rifles can't reach them effectively. Then Lieutenant Jack Churchill stands up. He's holding something that hasn't been used in combat for 500 years, a longbow. A medieval English longbow made of yew wood, 6 feet tall, capable of punching through armor at 200 yards. His fellow soldiers think he's lost his mind. You don't bring a bow to a gunfight. That's suicide. That's insane. Churchill draws the bow, aims, releases. The arrow flies 100 yards in 2 seconds. It hits a German NCO in the chest. The man drops, dead. The only confirmed longbow kill of World War II. Churchill turns to his patrol and says, "Any officer who goes into action without his sword is improperly dressed." Then he charges the German position, playing bagpipes, with a Scottish broadsword strapped to his belt. This is the story of Mad Jack Churchill, the man who fought World War II like it was the Middle Ages, who killed Nazis with arrows, who captured 42 enemies with just a sword, who escaped from a concentration camp, who survived everything the war threw at him. And when it was over, he complained that the Americans ended it too soon. Let's go back to the beginning. Because you don't become Mad Jack Churchill overnight, you have to be slightly insane from birth. John Malcolm Thorpe Fleming Churchill. Born September 16th, 1906, in Hong Kong. His father was a British civil servant. His mother was the daughter of a colonial administrator. Churchill grew up in British-controlled territories across Asia. Privileged upbringing, good education. He attended King William's College on the Isle of Man, then the Royal Military Academy Sandhurst, graduated in 1926, commissioned as a second lieutenant. But here's where Churchill goes off script. Most officers serve their regiment, follow orders, have normal military careers. Churchill gets bored with normal. He serves in Burma. Then he quits the army in 1936, becomes a male model in Nairobi, then a newspaper editor. Then he decides to become a professional archer and bagpipe player. Yes, really. In the 1,930 seconds, Jack Churchill is competing in archery championships and playing bagpipes at military tattoos. He represents Britain in the World Archery Championships in 1939. He's legitimately skilled, not just a hobbyist. He can hit targets at 100 yards consistently. He also learns to play the bagpipes, practices Scottish broadsword fighting, rides motorcycles at high speed, surfs, rock climbs. Churchill is living like he's trying to win a bet about how many dangerous hobbies one person can have. Then September 1939. Germany invades Poland. Britain declares war. Churchill immediately re-enlists in the army. He's 33 years old. Most men his age are looking for desk jobs. Churchill volunteers for combat. He joins the Manchester Regiment, gets promoted to captain. Then he does something that defines his entire war. He brings his bow, his sword, and his bagpipes to France. His commanding officer asks why he's carrying medieval weapons. Churchill responds, "In my opinion, sir, any officer who goes into action without his sword is improperly dressed." The CO thinks he's joking. Churchill is not joking. He never jokes about swords. May 1940. The Battle of France. Germany is steamrolling through French defenses. The British Expeditionary Force is retreating toward Dunkirk. It's chaos. The German blitzkrieg is unstoppable. Churchill's unit is part of the rear guard. Their job is to slow the German advance, buy time for the main force to evacuate. It's a suicide mission. Everyone knows it. May 27th, 1940. L'Épinette. The moment we started with. Churchill's patrol is pinned down. German machine guns have them trapped. They need to eliminate that position or they'll be overrun. Churchill takes out his longbow. His men think he's crazy. You can't fight machine guns with arrows. That's medieval thinking. This is modern warfare. Churchill doesn't care. He draws the bow. The draw weight is 150 pounds. That's enough force to punch through medieval plate armor. He aims at a German soldier 100 yards away. The arrow flies. 2 seconds. The German drops. Confirmed kill. The only documented longbow kill of World War II. The Germans are confused. Who uses arrows? What kind of weapon makes that sound? Where did their NCO go? Churchill uses the confusion. He charges, playing bagpipes. The bagpipes are psychological warfare. The sound is terrifying, eerie, otherworldly. The Germans have no idea what's happening. Churchill reaches the German position with his patrol following. They overrun it. Capture the survivors. The rearguard action succeeds. 3 days later, Churchill evacuates from Dunkirk. He's played bagpipes on the beaches while German planes are bombing the evacuation. Other soldiers remember a crazy officer playing music while Stukas are diving. Churchill returns to England. He expects a court-martial for irregular conduct. Instead, he gets a promotion and a new assignment. Commando training. The British commandos are being formed in 1940. Elite units for raiding operations. Behind enemy lines stuff. High risk, high reward. They're looking for aggressive officers who think outside the box. Churchill is the definition of outside the box. He's assigned to No. 2 Commando, later reorganized as No. 3 Commando. His commanding officer asks if he has any special skills. Churchill lists archery, swordsmanship, bagpipes, mountaineering, and surfing. The CO isn't sure what to do with this information. How do you use surfing in commando raids? Churchill will figure it out. December 27th, 1941. Operation Archery. British commando raid on the Norwegian island of Vågsøy. The mission: destroy fish oil factories that Germany is using for explosives production. Eliminate the German garrison. Capture intelligence documents. Get out before German reinforcements arrive. Churchill is leading one of the assault teams. His men have rifles, submachine guns, grenades, standard commando equipment. Churchill has his broadsword, his longbow, and his bagpipes. They approach the Norwegian coast in landing craft at 0400 hours. It's dark, freezing. The Norwegian winter is brutal. Most men are focused on not getting frostbite. Churchill is tuning his bagpipes. At 0430 hours, the landing craft hit the beaches. Churchill jumps out first, playing the March of the Cameron Men on his bagpipes, running up the beach toward German positions. His commandos follow. They have no choice. Their commanding officer is charging machine gun nests while playing bagpipes. You can't let him do that alone. The raid is successful. The fish oil factories are destroyed. The German garrison is eliminated. 58 German soldiers killed, 98 captured, British casualties, 20 dead, 57 wounded. Churchill personally captures several Germans. How? He corners them in a building, draws his broadsword. They surrender immediately, because what do you do when a British officer is attacking you with a medieval sword? The raid makes Churchill famous. The newspapers love it. British officer uses sword in Norway raid. Commando leader plays bagpipes during assault. The stories make him sound like a character from a novel. Churchill's response: I only use the sword and bagpipes because they're properly traditional British weapons. Nobody knows how to argue with that logic. 1943. Churchill is promoted to lieutenant colonel. He's given command of 2 Commando. They're assigned to the Mediterranean theater, fighting in Italy. The Italian campaign is brutal. Mountainous terrain, fortified German positions, slow progress, high casualties. It's grinding, attritional warfare. Churchill decides to make it interesting. He leads raids personally, always with his sword, sometimes with his bow, always with bagpipes. September 1943. The Salerno landings. Allied forces are invading mainland Italy. Churchill's commandos are part of the assault force. Their objective: capture the town of Pigoletti and hold it against German counterattacks. Churchill goes ashore in the first wave, playing bagpipes. His commandos are used to this by now. If Mad Jack isn't playing bagpipes, something is wrong. They capture Pigoletti. But German reinforcements arrive faster than expected. Churchill's force of 50 commandos is facing 500 German infantry with armor support. Sensible officers would retreat, request reinforcement, wait for air support. Churchill orders a charge. With his sword drawn, playing bagpipes, his commandos attack. The Germans are so confused by the bagpipes and the sword that their counterattack falters. Churchill's men hold Pigoletti for 6 hours until reinforcements arrive. Churchill personally captures 42 German soldiers during the battle. How? He corners them in a village building, walks in playing bagpipes with his sword drawn. The Germans think the building is surrounded by a massive force. They surrender. It's just Churchill, alone, with a sword and bagpipes. 42 prisoners. No shots fired, just psychological warfare and a really sharp sword. The Battle of Salerno earns Churchill the Distinguished Service Order. The citation mentions outstanding leadership and determination. It doesn't mention the bagpipes or the sword, but everyone knows. May 1944. Churchill is assigned to Yugoslavia. The mission: support Tito's partisans fighting Germans in the Balkans. Churchill's commando unit is supposed to coordinate with partisan forces and conduct raids on German supply lines. Churchill sees this as an opportunity. He proposes a raid on the German-held island of Brach. The island has a German garrison of 500 troops. Churchill has 43 commandos and 1,500 partisan fighters. The plan: amphibious assault, capture key positions, hold until German reinforcements arrive, then evacuate before being overwhelmed. It's insane. The Germans have fortified positions, artillery, machine guns, and Churchill's forces are outnumbered if German reinforcements come from the mainland. Churchill doesn't care. He leads the assault, playing bagpipes during the beach landing. Because why wouldn't you? The raid initially succeeds. They capture the German headquarters, destroy supplies, kill or capture most of the garrison. Then German reinforcements arrive. 2,000 troops, with armor, with air support. Churchill's force is trapped. They can't evacuate fast enough. The Germans are closing in. The situation is deteriorating. Churchill orders his men to retreat to the evacuation point. He stays behind with a small rearguard to cover the withdrawal. He's planning to make a last stand. Buy time. Let his men escape. Then a mortar round explodes near his position. Churchill is knocked unconscious. When he wakes up, he's surrounded by German soldiers. He's captured. For the first time in the war, Mad Jack Churchill is a prisoner. The Germans don't know what to make of him. They find a sword, a longbow, bagpipes, no gun. What kind of British officer carries these weapons? They interrogate him. Churchill tells them his name is Jack Churchill. The Germans look at their intelligence files. There's another Churchill, Winston Churchill, the British Prime Minister. The Germans think they've captured Winston Churchill's relative. This is huge. A high-value prisoner. They send him to Sachsenhausen concentration camp. Not the extermination part, the special section for high-profile prisoners. Churchill is imprisoned with other VIP prisoners. Political prisoners, officers, people the Germans want alive for propaganda or prisoner exchanges. Life in Sachsenhausen is grim. Not as horrific as the extermination camps, but still a concentration camp. Poor food, brutal guards, constant threat of execution. Churchill does what Churchill does best. He escapes. September 1944. Churchill and a British RAF officer attempt an escape during a nighttime electrical failure. They climb the wire, make it outside the camp, start walking toward the Baltic coast. The plan is to steal a boat and sail to Sweden. They walk for 8 days, surviving on stolen vegetables and water from streams, avoiding German patrols. They get within a few miles of the coast. Then they're recaptured. Near the town of Rostock, the Germans bring them back to Sachsenhausen. Churchill expects to be executed. Escape attempts from concentration camps usually result in death. Instead, the Germans transfer him to Tyrol in Austria, to a different camp for high-value prisoners. The Nazis are losing the war. They're keeping important prisoners alive for potential negotiations. April 1945. The war is ending. Germany is collapsing. The SS guards at the Austrian camp abandon their posts. They know the war is lost. They're running. Churchill walks out. Just walks out. No dramatic escape. The gates are open. The guards are gone. He walks to the nearest village and finds American forces. The American soldiers don't believe him at first. This British officer appears from nowhere, claims he escaped from a concentration camp, says he's been fighting with a sword and bow. They think he's shell-shocked. Crazy. They send him to a medical unit for evaluation. Churchill is frustrated. He's not crazy. He's mad Jack Churchill. He wants to get back to his unit. He wants to keep fighting. But the war in Europe ends. May 8th, 1945. Germany surrenders. Churchill is furious. He's quoted saying, "If it wasn't for those damn Yanks, we could have kept the war going another 10 years. He's only half joking, but the war isn't over. Japan is still fighting. Churchill immediately volunteers for the Pacific Theater. He wants to fight the Japanese with his sword and his bow and his bagpipes. The British Army sends him to Burma. He arrives in August 1945, ready to lead commandos against Japanese positions. Then the Americans drop atomic bombs on Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Japan surrenders. The war ends. Churchill is devastated. He's missed the entire Pacific War. He complains to anyone who will listen. He wanted to use his sword against the Japanese. Now he'll never get the chance. What do you do with Mad Jack Churchill in peacetime? The man is built for war. He thrives in chaos. He's been fighting for 5 years. Now what? The army keeps him on. He's too valuable to discharge. Too experienced. Too crazy to just send home. 1946. Churchill is sent to Palestine. The British mandate is collapsing. Jewish and Arab groups are fighting each other. And the British, it's messy, violent, complicated. Churchill is assigned as a training officer, teaching tactics, leading patrols. He still carries his sword, still plays bagpipes, even in Palestine. Then he's sent to Australia, to the Staff College, teaching military history and tactics. The students love him. He tells stories about using a bow in France, about capturing 42 Germans with a sword, about escaping from concentration camps. Some students think he's exaggerating. Then they check his service record. It's all true. Every crazy story, every impossible claim, all documented. 1959. Churchill retires from the army. He's 53 years old. Most men would settle down. Golf, gardening, quiet retirement. Churchill takes up surfing. In his 50 seconds, he becomes one of the first British surfing enthusiasts. Rides waves off the English coast, in freezing water, because of course he does. He also takes up radio-controlled model boats, but not normal models. Churchill designs boats that can travel down rivers at high speed, navigating rapids, avoiding obstacles. He treats it like combat operations. His neighbors think he's eccentric. Churchill doesn't care. He's lived his entire life not caring what people think. He also continues playing bagpipes, performs at Highland Games, teaches archery, gives lectures about his war experiences. When people ask him about using a sword and bow in WWII, he says, "I've always believed that traditions are important. The British Army has a proud history of using the sword. Why abandon it just because we have modern weapons?" Nobody knows how to argue with that. May 27th, 1975, 35 years after his longbow kill in France, Churchill appears on a British television interview. He's 68 years old. The interviewer asks him about his unusual weapons choices. Churchill responds, "People ask me why I used a bow and sword. I tell them, because they work. I killed a German with an arrow. I captured 42 with a sword. Results speak for themselves. The interviewer asks if he ever regretted not using modern weapons. Churchill says, "Regret? Never. Any officer who goes into action without his sword is improperly dressed. I stand by that. Always have. Always will." He pauses, then adds, "My only regret is that the war ended too soon. I was just getting started." He's still only half joking. March 8th, 1996. Jack Malcolm Thorpe Fleming Churchill dies. He's 89 years old. He survived World War II, survived concentration camps, survived using a bow and sword against machine guns. He dies peacefully in Surrey, England, surrounded by family. His sword and bagpipes are nearby, because of course they are. His obituary in the Times describes him as perhaps the most colorful and eccentric officer in the British Army during World War II. Veterans who served with him describe him differently. They say he was brave, inspiring, completely insane, but effective. His unconventional methods saved lives. His willingness to lead from the front earned respect. The sword, the bow, the bagpipes. They weren't just eccentricity. They were psychological warfare. German soldiers didn't know how to react to a British officer charging with a sword while playing bagpipes. It created confusion, hesitation, fear, and in combat, hesitation gets you killed. Churchill understood this. He used every advantage, including the element of complete surprise that comes from attacking with medieval weapons in a modern war. His confirmed kills are documented. One longbow kill in France, 1940. Multiple sword encounters resulting in captures rather than deaths. He preferred taking prisoners. More useful for intelligence. More sporting. Yes, Churchill thought war should be sporting. He once said, "Fighting is much more interesting when both sides have a chance." That's why he liked the sword. It gave the enemy a chance to surrender. Most officers use overwhelming firepower. Churchill used overwhelming audacity. The 42 Germans he captured at Salerno. He could have killed them. He had grenades. His men had guns. But Churchill walked in with a sword and bagpipes, gave them a chance to surrender. They took it. That's the paradox of Mad Jack Churchill. He was simultaneously the most aggressive and most merciful officer in the British Army. He charged machine gun nests, but he preferred captures to kills. He played bagpipes during assaults. But he never asked his men to take risks he wouldn't take first. His men loved him. They thought he was crazy, but they followed him, because Churchill led from the front. Always. He was the first off the landing craft, the first into the enemy position, the first to face danger. That kind of leadership is rare. Most officers lead from command posts, send men into danger while staying safe. Churchill did the opposite. He put himself in maximum danger and let his men follow if they chose. They always chose to follow. Because you can't let Mad Jack charge a German position alone. That's not how it works. After the war, Churchill's legacy becomes legend. Stories get embellished. Details get exaggerated. People claim he killed dozens with his bow, that he captured hundreds with his sword, that he escaped from concentration camps multiple times. The truth is impressive enough. 1 confirmed longbow kill, 42 confirmed captures with a sword, 1 successful escape attempt from a concentration camp, multiple successful commando raids while playing bagpipes. You don't need to exaggerate Mad Jack Churchill. The reality is already impossible. Modern soldiers study his tactics, not the sword and bow parts, but the psychological warfare, the use of unexpected elements to create confusion, the importance of leading from the front, the value of audacity. Special Forces units worldwide teach Churchill's methods. How he used sound the bagpipes to disorient enemies. How he used appearance the sword to create psychological impact. How he used personal courage to inspire his men. The British Army's Commando Training Center still tells Churchill's stories. He's an example of creative thinking, of refusing to accept conventional limitations, of making the enemy fight on your terms, not theirs. But here's the most important part of Mad Jack Churchill's legacy. He proved that warfare isn't just about firepower. It's about psychology, morale, leadership, innovation. The Germans had better tanks than the British in many battles, better machine guns, better positions. But they didn't have officers charging them with swords while playing bagpipes. They didn't know how to respond to that. So, they lost. Churchill's methods shouldn't have worked. Medieval weapons against modern armies. It's illogical, impractical, insane, but it worked. Because war isn't logical. Combat isn't predictable. And sometimes the most effective weapon is the one nobody expects. One man, one sword, one bow, one set of bagpipes, and the audacity to use them against the German army. That's Mad Jack Churchill. The man who proved that courage, creativity, and a really sharp sword can defeat machine guns, artillery, and overwhelming odds. He fought World War II like it was the Middle Ages. And he survived. And he won. And when it was over, he complained that it ended too soon. That's the most Mad Jack Churchill thing of all. Surviving 5 years of combat, escaping from a concentration camp, living to age 89, and wishing the war had lasted longer so he could have used his sword more. Any officer who goes into action without his sword is improperly dressed. Mad Jack Churchill lived by that motto. And somehow, impossibly, he made it work. That's the story. The British soldier who killed Nazis with a bow and sword, who played bagpipes during beach landings, who captured 42 enemies alone, who escaped from concentration camps, who survived everything. The craziest soldier in World War II. And maybe in all of military history. Mad Jack Churchill. The only man who thought World War II wasn't sporting enough.